The WNBA didn't just stumble into controversy this time. If the whispers coming out of league offices are even half true, this was a deliberate move. And it may go down as the moment the league turned on the very player keeping it alive. What started as quiet tension has now exploded into something much bigger. Bigger than one contract. Bigger than one season. Bigger than anyone expected. Because this isn't just about Caitlin Clark. It's about power. And who really has it now? For months, everything looked fine on the surface. Sold out arenas, ratings climbing, jerseys flying off shelves. The league finally had momentum it had chased for decades. But behind closed doors, pressure was building. Old systems, new money, and a star who refused to play by outdated rules. Then suddenly, the rumors dropped, and the entire sports world stopped to stare.
WNBA finals, and so I'll leave it there. I mean, I'm just obviously disheartened. You know, I'm a human too. I have a family. I have 2 kids who are devastated by these comments, and so all I'll say is just, you know, it's obviously been a tough week.
According to multiple reports, a catastrophic breakdown occurred during negotiations tied to the next collective bargaining agreement. At the center of it all was Caitlin Clark. The allegation? That the league moved toward discipline after Clark refused to sign a deal they expected her to accept without question. If true, that decision wasn't just bold, it was reckless. Because what the WNBA allegedly asked for wasn't just a signature, it was control. Sources familiar with the talks describe a deal designed to set the tone for the new CBA era. On paper, it looked reasonable. In reality, it was suffocating. Expanded rights over Clark's image. Mandatory marketing obligations eating into her off-season. A salary structure that barely reflected her true market value. This wasn't a negotiation between equals. It was a reminder of how the league has always operated. For decades, players were told to sacrifice now so the league could survive. Accept less so the future could be better. Put the shield first. And for a long time, they had no choice. But Caitlin Clark isn't just another player. Treating her like one may be the league's biggest mistake yet. When Clark reportedly slid that contract back across the table, it wasn't just a rejection of terms. It was a rejection of a system built on player obedience. In that moment, the power dynamic shifted, and the league didn't know how to respond. The narrative now circulating is that the refusal was viewed as insubordination, a challenge to authority. In the eyes of the old guard, no player is supposed to be bigger than the league, no matter how many jerseys she sells. So the response, allegedly, was discipline, a message, a warning. But that approach ignores a modern reality. We no longer live in a league-controlled economy. We live in a player-powered one. And Caitlin Clark operates on a different level. Look at the math. Clark reportedly holds a Nike signature deal worth close to $28 million over 8 years. Add partnerships with Gatorade, State Farm, Wilson, and Panini, and her off-court income easily reaches 8 figures. Now compare that to the WNBA maximum salary. Roughly $250,000? That gap isn't small. It's a canyon. Suspending Clark wouldn't hurt her financially. She could sit out seasons and remain one of the highest-earning female athletes in the world. The league, however, cannot say the same. The WNBA's recent growth isn't spread evenly. It's concentrated. Ticket pricing, media rights, expansion plans, travel upgrades, all of it leans heavily on what many now call the Clark economy. Remove her from the equation, and the numbers collapse. Which makes the timing of this alleged move even more dangerous. The Players Union has already opted out of the current CBA after watching revenue surge, charter flights, sold out arenas. Clark's impact changed the math, and players want their share. Here's the irony. The league benefits from Clark's success. The union demands more because of Clark's success. Yet Clark is allegedly being punished for protecting her own future. That contradiction has created a fracture impossible to ignore. Inside locker rooms, players understand what's at stake. There's been tension and jealousy, but the smart players know one thing. If Clark falls, the money train stops. Travel upgrades vanish. Salary bumps disappear. Attention shifts elsewhere. Which brings us to the threat the league cannot control: unrivaled. The new 3-on-3 league, founded by Brianna Stewart and Nafisa Collier, isn't just an alternative, it's a direct challenge. Higher salaries, ownership stakes, a product built for modern fans. Most importantly, equity. If Clark ever feels boxed in, she has somewhere else to go. And if she makes that move, the optics would be devastating. The face of women's basketball choosing a startup league over the established one would legitimize Unrivaled overnight. The WNBA wouldn't just lose a star, it would lose relevance. Fans already see it. The audience Clark brought isn't loyal to logos or legacy, they're loyal to her. If she's not on the court, many don't switch games. They turn the TV off. We've seen this before. When Clark was left off the Olympic roster, backlash was immediate. A missed marketing opportunity worth millions. That was a warning shot. A suspension would be that mistake multiplied. Social media is already flooded with boycott calls. Hashtags demanding leadership changes are spreading. The league is fighting on two fronts, one against its biggest star and one against its own customers. Leadership is now under intense scrutiny. All season, there were criticisms of silence and passivity. Now the pendulum has swung the other way. What once looked like inaction now looks like panic. Less like leadership, more like control. Owners are watching closely. For the first time, teams are making real money. If one decision drives away the league's biggest draw, that decision becomes expensive. And in pro sports, liabilities don't last long. There's also a larger shadow: the NBA. The NBA has subsidized the WNBA for decades, hoping for sustainability. Caitlin Clark finally made that goal feel real. Suspending the league's most valuable asset directly contradicts that mission. If this standoff continues, the fallout is predictable. Ratings crater, networks grow furious, arenas lose energy. Road games that once sold out suddenly don't. The damage spreads across the entire league. Beneath it all lies a deeper problem. The WNBA still doesn't know how to handle a true superstar. Collectivism works until you have one name fans tune in to see. The NBA learned this decades ago. Stars drive growth, narratives sell, heroes matter. Right now, the league looks like it's fighting gravity. Sponsors see it, players see it, fans feel it. And the message to the next generation is clear and troubling. Don't get too big, don't shine too bright. Media coverage has only hardened public perception. The league is framed as the villain, Clark as the martyr, and that kind of branding sticks. Which brings us to the uncomfortable truth. This moment will define the WNBA's future, not because of one player's refusal, but because of how the league responds to success it can't control. They can choose partnership, or they can choose power. One path leads to growth, the other leads to irrelevance. And right now, the clock is ticking.